ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضاه. We're going to begin today's class by completing last lesson's homework. أجب عن الأسئلة الآتية. Answer the following questions. And these questions, they are based on the text that we read last lesson, the dialogue between the teacher and Muhammad. And we're going to answer these questions as though we are Muhammad. The first question, من أين أنت? Where are you from? When he was asked, Muhammad said, أنا من اليابان. أنا من اليابان. So the answer would be, أنا من اليابان. I am from Japan. أنا. This is how we write أنا. The alif is written, but it's not read. So we don't say أنا. أنا من اليابان. I am from Japan. أنت من الفلبين. The question was asked to Muhammad once again. Are you from the Philippines? Muhammad is from Japan, so he can't be from the Philippines. So we'd say لا, because the question is posed with Hamza, Hamzatul Istifham. The Hamzatul Istifham we have to answer with لا or نعم. In this case لا. So we say لا. No. Are you from the Philippines? No. أنا من اليابان. I am from Japan. من من الصين. Who is from China? We read المدرس asked Muhammad ومن أين عمار, and where is Ammar from? Muhammad said هو من الصين. So it's Ammar من الصين. Ammar is from China. من من الصين. We say عمار من الصين. من الصين. من أين حامد? Where was Hamid from? Mudarris, when he was asking, he said ومن أين حامد? Muhammad said هو من الهند. So Hamid is from Hind. من أين حامد? هو, he, من الهند. He is from Hind, India. طيب أين ذهب عباس? Where did Abbas go? عباس أين عباس خرج? He left. مدرس أين ذهب? Where did he go? محمد ذهب إلى المدير. He went to the director, the headmaster. So you say أين ذهب عباس? ذهب, he went to إلى المدير. He went to the mudir, the headmaster. أذهب علي إلى المدير. Did Ali go to the mudir, the headmaster? Let's see. وأين ذهب علي? ذهب إلى المرحاض. No, Ali went to the toilet. أذهب علي إلى المدير? لا. لا. ذهب إلى المرحاض. He went to the toilet. This was homework number 1. Homework number 2 says اقرأ واكتب مع ضبط أواخر الكلمات. Read and write with the correct vowelizations of the last or the endings of the words. This is to test us whether we have understood the concept of min and ila being from the huruf al-jar. So let's do this one. First one says al-ghurfatu. Al-ghurfatu, the room. Then we have min. The min is supposed to take a sukun, as we mentioned, but it takes a fatha if it's followed by a sukun. So here we have sukun, so we have to give it a fatha. Min al-ghurfa is going to end with a kasra because min is a harf jar. Min al-ghurfati. طيب. Next one, so from the ghurfa. The ghurfa, the room, from the room. Next one is min al-hammami, from the bathroom. Next one is المرحاض, the toilet. Then we have إلى المرحاض, to the toilet. Then we have اليابان, اليابان, Japan. Then we have الفلبين, الفلبين. In Arabic, we don't have the letter P. They have ba instead of pa. Pepsi, they'll say Bebsi. That's why they say Philippine instead of Philippine. طيب, الفلبين من الهندي, from India. إلى الصين, إلى الصين, to China. To China. طيب, this was the second homework. The third homework says اقرأ واكتب. من أين فاطمة هي من الهند. She is from India. هي من الهند. She's from India. Second one. خرج المدرس. خرج المدرس من الفصل, from the classroom. وذهب, and he went. وذهب إلى المدير, and he went to the mudir, to the head teacher. Number 3. ذهب التاجر. The merchant went to إلى, to the دكان. للدكان, to the shop. Number 4. خرج حامد. حامد left من الغرفة, he left from the room. من الغرفة. خرج من الغرفة, خرج حامد من الغرفة, حامد left from the room. وذهب إلى الحمام, and he went to the حمام. He went to the bathroom. That's number 4. Number 5. من خرج من خرج من الفصل. Who exited from the classroom. Number 6. خرج الطالب. The student left من المدرسة. Left from the school. وذهب, and he went to the إلى السوق. And he went to the souk, market. The 7th one. خديجة. خديجة من الصين. من الصين is from China. وخالد من اليابان. من اليابان. Khadija is from China and Khalid is from Japan. Okay, the next exercise says ضع في الفراغ فيما يلي حرف جر مناسبا. Place in the empty space, in the following empty space, a suitable حرف جر. And we have من, إلى, في, على. We have to choose one of these four to fill in the empty space so that the sentence makes sense. الكتاب. The book. I'm going to choose على. على المكتب. The book is on the desk. Number 2. الطالب. الطالب في الفصل is in the classroom. That's what makes the most sense. The student is in the classroom. Number 3. ذهب حامد. حامد went إلى الجامعة. Hamid went to the university. And we're hoping this university that Hamid attends is one where there's no free mixing, inshallah. So you notice that ذهب, this verb, usually comes with the preposition إلى somewhere after it. ذهب إلى. It's very important to memorize the verbs with their corresponding prepositions like this. خرج usually comes with من. خرج من. ذهب إلى. Because these affect the meaning. He went to, and so on. It's very important to remember what the most common preposition is that comes after the verb. So ذهب comes with إلى usually. Number 4. خرج المدير. خرج المدير من المدرسة. He left from the school. من المدرسة. The mudir, headmaster, left from the school. Number 5. ذهب محمد. ذهب محمد إلى, we said. ذهب comes with إلى. إلى الصين. ذهب محمد إلى الصين. Muhammad went to China. من اليابان. From Japan. Muhammad went to China from Japan. طيب, so this was last week's homework. Let's begin today's class. As we mentioned last lesson, we're going to cover what we've missed out in lesson 4. There are several things, concepts that we did not discuss last lesson. Okay, the first thing we're going to be speaking about in this lesson is الضمائر. الضمائر, pronouns. The singular is ضمير. ضمير, a pronoun. The pronouns are a type of nouns. They fall under the category of ismun, the noun. And just like the noun, the ضمائر are divided into 3 categories in terms of number. مفرد, singular. مثنى, dual. جمع, plural. And likewise in terms of gender, they are divided into 2 types. مذكر and مؤنث, masculine, feminine. But the pronouns are different to the nouns in that they refer to 3 different categories of people. So we have third person, where you're talking about someone. He, she, they, you're talking about them. Second person is when you're talking directly to them. When you're talking to someone, you're directing your speech to someone. You're speaking to them directly. First person is when you're talking about yourself, I and we and so on. So I want everyone to draw this table out in the books somewhere and keep it safe, and inshallah we're going to be filling this out as we go along. So far from the dhama'ir that we've taken, huwa, hiya, anta, ana. So we can fill these ones out because we've taken them. So huwa, this dhamir, this pronoun, refers to a singular male, third person. So you're talking about someone. Who are you talking about? You're talking about a masculine. How many? One. You're talking about one masculine third person, or third person masculine singular, whichever way you want to arrange it. Here, she refers to third person feminine singular. Third person feminine singular. Anta, which we took last lesson, means you. Anta, you. Second person masculine singular. We haven't taken the feminine version of this yet, so we leave it blank. Then we also took ana. Ana can refer to two different things. So it's first person. First person means you're talking about yourself. Singular. Ana is singular. The masculine mudhakkar, he says ana, and the mu'annath, she also says ana. So ana is used for both the mudhakkar and the mu'annath when they are referring to themselves. A singular person, one person, speaking about himself, he would say ana, whether he's masculine or feminine. Ana for both. So we've taken 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 dhama'ir. So in total, inshallah, we should have 12. So copy this out, and inshallah we're going to fill in this table as we go along. The second thing that we need to know is that the noun ismun, the ismun is categorized into 2 categories, and this categorization is in terms of the last letter. Does the last letter of the noun change, or does it remain the same? Does it change or does it remain the same? So for example, we have this word Muhammadun. Sometimes we see it Muhammadun, sometimes we see it Muhammadin, sometimes we see it Muhammadan. This noun falls under the category of ones where the endings change, and this is known as mu'rab. Mu'rabun. A mu'rab noun is a noun whose ending changes. So Muhammadun, Muhammadin, Muhammadan. How about Allah, lafdul jalala, this, the name of Allah. Allah, is it mu'rab? Does it change? We find that yes, it does change. So in the Quran we have Allahu, Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Sometimes we have it with a kasra, Bismillahi. Sometimes we have it with a fatha, Inna Allah. In fact, most of the nouns, they fall under this category, where the endings change. The endings change. So mu'rab means changing of the last haraka of the last letter, changings of the last vowel of the noun. The opposite of mu'rab is mabniyun. Mabniyun. Mabniyun is fixed. And mu'rab we say changes or unfixed. Not fixed, and this is fixed. What's fixed? Mabni basically means its ending will never change. It's always going to remain the same. So it's not going to become like this, where dhammatain, kasratain, fathatain, it changes. So we said most nouns are mu'rabun, their endings change. Some of them are mabni, and these mabni nouns, there are a few of them which are categorized into categories. From the Mabni nouns are Ismul Ishara. What's Ismul Ishara? Ismul Ishara is a demonstrative pronoun. From the ones that we've taken so far, هذا ذلك. هذا and ذلك. هذا and ذلك are nouns. What type of nouns are they? They are Mabni nouns. What does Mabni noun mean? The ending is fixed. The fatha on the kaf is not going to change. This alif is always going to remain an alif with a sukoon. It's never going to change. So for example, we took harful jar. We said fi enters upon a noun, and it causes the noun's ending to change, become a kasra, right? We said that previously. This is only if we have a mu'rab noun here, because it's only the mu'rab nouns which accept change. These ones don't accept change. So if we had dhalika, for example, the kaf is going to remain how it is with the fatha. It's not going to change and become kasra. Why is that? Because this is a mabni noun. What's a mabni noun? A noun whose ending never changes. So fi dhalika, that just means that this noun doesn't accept change. It's not mu'rab. If it was a mu'rab noun, we would say fi, for example, Muhammadin fil masjidi, and so on. But if it's a mabni noun, then it's not going to change. Why am I explaining this? I'm explaining this because from the categories of mabni nouns is aina. Aina is a ismul istifham. Ismul istifham. The nouns that we use to ask questions, man, aina, ma, and so on. From them is aina. From them is aina. Aina. In fact, all of the interrogative pronouns, the nouns that we use to ask questions, all of them, aina, ma, all of them, they are mabni. They are fixed. They're never going to change. Inshallah, the exceptions will come later, but we need to know that all of the asma'ul ishara, they are mabni. All of the ismul istifham, asma'ul istifham, they are mabni. They never change. This is why here, min harf jar came. What is the harf jar supposed to do? It enters upon a noun and it causes the noun's ending to end with a kasra. But here we don't see that. It's min aina. We didn't say min aini. Why didn't we say min aini? Because aina is mabni. It's a noun that's fixed, whose ending is fixed. It's never going to change. That's why the fatha remains a fatha. Min aina anta. طيب. So this is very important to bear in mind, that we have nouns which are mu'rab and nouns which are mabni. Nouns whose endings change and nouns whose endings do not change. They remain fixed. This is the asl, this is the origin. Most nouns fall into this category. Some nouns fall into these categories, and they are confined to a few categories that we're going to mention as they come along. So from the ones that we mentioned so far, the demonstrative pronouns and the interrogative pronouns also. Asma'ul ishara, hadha, dhalika, and we're going to learn more inshallah. Ismul istifham, aina, where, ma, all of these, they are also mabni, fixed. So don't get confused when we come across harf jar coming before a noun and then the noun not changing. You need to ask yourself, why isn't it changing? Is it not changing because it's mabni? Or is it not changing because min is not a harf jar, or the letter, the harf is not actually a harf jar? So you should ask yourself two questions. Is it not changing because it's not a harf jar, or is it not changing because this is mabni? So this is something that we need to recognize also. Okay, once we've understood that, we need to remember that the changes also, the mu'rab noun, there are 3 possible changes. For the noun, the mu'rab noun, there's 3 possible changes. We have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. 3 possible changes. Change number 1, change number 2, change number 3. 3 possible changes. The first possible change is the word could end with dhamma or dhammatain. Dhamma or dhammatain. Or it could end with fatha or fathatain. Or kasra or kasratain. So 3 possible changes that the mu'rab noun can have. We have names for these endings. We have names for these endings, and this is what we're going to mention now. When the noun ends with dhamma or dhammatain, we refer to this noun as being marfu'un. We say this noun is marfu'. This is just a technical name that's given in Nahu to describe a noun that is mu'rab and its case ending at the moment has a dhamma or dhammatain at the end. We say this noun is marfu'. If the noun has a fatha or fathatain at the end, we call it mansubun. Mansubun. So we have marfu'un, mansubun, and if he has a kasra or kasratain, we say it is majrurun. And we've taken this so far. When does it become majrur? If we have harf jar. Harf jar, ism majrur. Harf jar, ism majrur. So when the ending is kasra or kasratain, we say it is majrur. Majrurun. So these names only apply if the word is mu'rab. These names are only applicable to a noun that is mu'rab. So if we have dhalika, for example, just because dhalika ends with a fatha, we don't say this is mansub. No, because dhalika enters into the category of mabni. It doesn't even enter into the category of mu'rab. So mu'rab is the one that is subdivided into marfu', mansub, majrur. These names only apply to a word if it's mu'rab. I hope this is understood. So we have, to summarize, nouns, endings change. If they change, then they are called mu'rab. And if the noun's ending does not change, it's called mabni. Then we said the mu'rab nouns, the ones that change, we have 3 possibilities. It could either end with dhamma, dhammatain, so it's marfu'. Fatha or fathatain is called mansub. Kasra or kasratain is called majrur. It's called majrur. This is something that we have to memorize. Also, another thing that we need to bear in mind is that we have 2 types of sentences, jumla ismiya and jumla fi'liya. We said to construct a jumla ismiya we need a mubtada and a khabar. Mubtada being the subject of the sentence and khabar being the information which comes to complete the sentence. We said that the mubtada comes first. The mubtada is ma'rifa, definite, and we said that the mubtada is a noun, it's an ism. Okay, today we're going to add a 3rd or 4th thing, and that is the mubtada is marfu'. Marfu'un. What does marfu'un mean? We just mentioned that it's a noun which ends with dhamma or dhammatain. The mubtada is going to be marfu'. So al-baytu maksurun. Al-baytu ends with 1 dhamma because it's marfu', it's the mubtada. So we added a 4th criteria for the mubtada. So the mubtada comes first, it's definite, it's a noun, and it's marfu'. طيب. Okay, khabar now. Khabar, we said that it comes second. We said that it's indefinite. And we said that it's a noun. طيب, so far we have 3 criteria for the mubtada, for the khabar. 3 criteria for the khabar. Okay, we're going to learn different types of khabar. There are going to be a total of 5 khabars. There are 5 types of khabar. These 5 are divided into 3. The first is the single worded khabar. We have a single worded khabar. Single worded khabar like al-baytu kabirun. Kabirun. Al-baytu kabirun. Al-masjidu saghirun. And so on. So it comes second. Al-baytu kabirun. So it comes second. It's indefinite and it's a noun. Likewise, the khabar which is single worded is also going to be marfu'. So we could add this as well. Marfu' ends with 1 dhamma or dhammatain. So we have 4 things. There are 4 criteria likewise for the khabar. These 4 criteria are only if the khabar is single worded. If the khabar is single worded, then we say that it's comes second, it's indefinite, it's a noun, it's marfu'. There's a second type of khabar which is not a jumla, but it is a shibhu jumla. Shibhu jumla. What's a shibhu jumla? It's a phrase. Shibhu jumlatin. It's a phrase. And this phrase, there are 2 types. So we have one, Shibhu Jumla, which is a phrase. There are 2 types of phrase. There's 2 and there's 3. And the 4th one is also, number 4 and 5 is going to come here, inshallah, afterwards. We're going to explain that. So the second type of khabar is a Shibhu Jumla phrase, made up of harf jar and ism majroor. Harf jar and ism majroor. There's a shorter way of expressing this by saying jarrun wa majroorun. Jarrun wa majroorun is a shorter way of saying harf jar and ism majroor. Harf jar is the jarrun, ism majroor is the majroor. Jarrun wa majroorun. This is a shorter way of saying it. So we can have a jarrun wa majroorun together, which is a phrase, it's a shibhu jumla, coming as khabar. And this is what we've witnessed in this lesson, from the start until the end. So from the start of the lesson, we had أين محمد هو في الغرفة. He is in the room. هو في الحمام. So this harf jar and the ism majroor, harf jar, ism majroor, is what has come to complete the sentence. On the desk, on the bed, in the toilet, in the kitchen, and so on. Tamam. So let's give an example. We had al-kitabu, for example. Al-kitabu fil maktabi. Al-kitabu fil maktabi. This is a sentence. What type of sentence is this? It says jumla ismiya. It's a jumla ismiya. Why is it jumla ismiya? Because it starts with a noun. Because it starts with a noun, it's a jumla ismiya. طيب. So what are we looking for? Mubtada, khabar. That's how we build a jumla ismiya, right? Mubtada, khabar. So where's our mubtada? The subject of our sentence. Al-kitab. Where's the khabar? Do we say fi alone is the khabar? The book is in. Does that make sense? No. Do we say al-maktabi, the desk, the book, the desk? Does that make sense? No. How about if we add these 2 together and say in the desk? The book is in the desk. Does that make sense now? Yes, it makes sense. So any part which is added to the khabar to complete the sentence, this is what is referred to as khabar. So the khabar here is coming as a phrase. This phrase is the khabar. Harf jar and ism majroor. Mubtada, harf jar, ism majroor, and this harf jar and ism majroor is referred to as shibhu jumla. It's a phrase, and this phrase is coming as khabar. So we'd say harf jar, ism majroor, shibhu jumla is a phrase, and this shibhu jumla is the khabar. الكتاب is the مبتدأ. في حرف جر. المكتب اسم مجرور. And then the حرف جر and the اسم مجرور is a شبه جملة. You could say جار ومجرور. Shorter way of saying it. جار ومجرور شبه جملة خبر. شبه جملة خبر. I hope this is understood. So خديجة من الصين, for example. خديجة من الصين. خديجة من الصين. Khadija is from China. Firstly, this is a jumla ismiya because it starts with a noun. خديجة is our مبتدأ. من حرف جر. صيني اسم مجرور. جار ومجرور شبه جملة خبر. It's coming as the خبر from China. طيب, so this is a basic analysis of the sentence. So when we have this type of خبر, this doesn't apply. That is indefinite, that it's a noun, and that it's marfu'. These three things don't apply. But it still comes second. The first criteria still applies. So mubtada, we have mubtada, and then we have khabar. So it still comes second. Khadijatu min as-Sin. So the khabar here comes second after the mubtada. Okay, the final thing that we need to speak about is the jumla fi'liya. Because in this lesson is the first time that the author has introduced us to the verbs and he's created a jumla fi'liya. How do we construct a jumla fi'liya? So just as the jumla ismiya requires two components, the jumla fi'liya also has to have two components. We have to have a fi'lun, which is a verb, and we have to have the fa'ilun. Fi'lun and fa'ilun. What's fa'ilun? The doer. There is no action which exists except that there is a cause, person who does the action. So we have to have a fi'lun and we have to have a fa'ilun. For example, ذهب means to go. This is the fi'l. Who is the fa'il? Who went? The person who went is Hamidun. This is a jumla fi'liya. We have a fi'lun and we have a fa'ilun. The action and the doer. It translates Hamidun went. Hamidun went, past tense. Hamidun went. We could say ذهب عباس. ذهب علي to the end. طيب. The fa'il, the doer, is always going to be a noun, and it's going to come after the fi'l, and it's going to be marfu'un. Three conditions. Fa'il is going to be a noun, it's going to come after the fi'l, and it's going to be marfu'un. What does marfu'un mean? It ends with a dhamma or dhammatain. So جاء or ذهب, if it was al-mudarris, we would say al-mudarrisu. ذهب المدرس, the teacher went. خرج المدرس, خرج حامد, and so on. طيب, inshallah, all of these things we're going to speak about them in more detail as we continue on with this book. But today it was just to quickly cover the things that we had missed previously. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.